I'm joined here today by Mark Allard Will, the author of Siegfried Dragonslayer. Mark, thanks so much for taking the time to come on and talk about your creative works.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
So the first thing I wanted to ask, I know you're based out of Saskatoon right now. Why don't you tell us just a little bit about the history of your work and what you do in general?
Yeah, for sure. So as an author, I write largely for graphic novels and comic books. I have a 7-year publication history in that medium, starting with Saskatchewan, which was a comedy Canadiana comic that came out in 2015. So Siegfried Dragonslayer is a reimagining of the Volsunga saga into graphic novel form, the Volsunga saga being the piece of Norse mythology that inspired Tolkien to write The Hobbit. It also inspired Richard Wagner's The Ring Cycle, and it inspired a Christian medieval part of German mythology called Das Nibelungenlied. And the artist that I worked with, Jasmine Redford, out of Warman, which is just outside of Saskatoon, she has supplied these illustrations that are painted with coffee, so very, very unique in the comic book world. But it also lends like a Dark Ages tapestry kind of look to the book, which really fits with the theme, of course, being set in what would be Dark Ages Scandinavia. And so, yeah, that's really what it is in a nutshell. But the book is accessible to everybody, ages 10 and up.
This weekend, I know you'll be here at Lloyd Mall for a book signing with Dragonslayer. Are you looking forward to that?
Yeah, really excited. This is the first time I've been to Lloydminster for a signing. First time I've ever really spent time in Lloydminster. So this is going to be great to meet residents, to kind of chat with people, to get to know readers in Lloydminster. Because my experience with Lloydminster is like what many Albertans or Saskatchewans would be, which is driving through to either get from Edmonton to Saskatoon or the other way around. So I'm happy to kind of get to know the city a bit better.
When you come to these local places and you receive this kind of support, what does that mean to you?
Absolutely fantastic, because as a writer, I come from a working class background, and my success with Siegfried Dragonslayer has been hard fought. So this is a really, it's really humbling. It's really touching when people come out support the book, when people get signed copies from me, when people then go on to follow my work. That really means a lot to me, and I'm very appreciative of anybody who does support my work.
What's next in the future for Mark?
So next out is going to be a passion project of mine. Well, I've got book 2, I should say, first of Siegfried Dragonslayer. It's a 2-parter. So this will be the final book that comes out in hopefully a couple of years if everything goes really well, because unfortunately graphic novels do take some time. After that, it's a passion project that I really wanted to do after my grandfather passed away. He was a World War II veteran. I learned about a piece of Canadian history called Operation Oblivion, which I would recommend to viewers, I'll try and get that right, of this segment to go and check out, because it's such a fascinating part of Canadian history. And I'm working with a Chinese-Canadian illustrator, Dino Pai, as the illustrator on that book. And I've worked with the Chinese-Canadian community to research the history on that as well, as it is something that affects them, but it is a Canadian story in general. So it's that's kind of my passion project, is getting into my teeth into this kind of 1940s part of Canadian history.
Well, that sounds very, very interesting, and I'm very excited for that. You'll definitely have to keep me updated on the details for that when it's getting a little bit closer to releasing. For now, that's all the time we have, unfortunately. But Mark, I'd just like to thank you again for joining me and talking about this. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. I really appreciate it.